Thunderstorms are moving across the area as we speak right now. I'll let you know if any of them are severe on radar 3000. And then I track yet another line of potential severe thunderstorms on Thursday. That's coming up.
But despite weather concerns, the season's first Concerts on the Square goes on. We bring you to the event.
Plus, the Wisconsin Supreme Court sides with Republicans in a case against Governor Tony Evers. What the ruling means going forward. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Let's start by taking a look at those alert day conditions. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now to break it all down.
I have good news to share. While we have alert day conditions still expected for heavy rainfall tonight, the thunderstorms are weakening as we speak right now. But Thursday, tomorrow, we've got another line of thunderstorms that we're going to need to track. Here's what we're tracking right now. Radar 3000, line of storms stretching from Marquesson down to Partyville, down to Lake Wisconsin. But take note of this little light green out ahead of the main line. This is cool outflow. This means this line is weakening. You see that a little bit better in northwest Dane County down to east Iowa County, east of Dodgeville. This little bit of blue, that's outflow. This is gusty winds 30 to 40 miles per hour, and it's leading out ahead of the main line of storms. And what that means is that, again, thunderstorms are on the weakening mode here, and we see again that the nature of the thunderstorms here is not that solid line that we were seeing a couple hours ago when Blaze was breaking in and we were breaking in for severe thunderstorm warnings and that tornado warning out towards the far northwest, out towards the Vernon County area. As we move through the rest of the evening tonight, Future track showing that line continuing to weaken. There you see it weakening and becoming more sparse in nature. A couple showers, isolated thunderstorms can't be ruled out overnight tonight, but we got a whole nother line of thunderstorms that we need to track coming up in Maine weather for Thursday evening. Will take us using Future track through that line of storms and the threats that they bring. That's coming up.
All right, thanks, Alex. Those severe storms were a beat away from washing out Concerts on the Square tonight.
But as Armand Rahman found, guests, vendors, and of course the musicians were happy to keep the rhythm going to start the season.
When you live in Madison, the threat of some raindrops and some damp grass isn't enough to scare you away from the kickoff of the summer Concerts on the Square season.
We'd like to go to the one that's the most lively.
But the most lively show almost didn't go on because of the threat of storms. Concerts on the Square's opening, which featured Radiance, a group performing some of Motown's greatest hits from Aretha Franklin and the Supremes, was almost pushed to the rain day Thursday.
It's called Dancing in the Streets. It might end up dancing in the rain, maybe.
Thankfully, it stayed sunny, swinging, and sweet.
Luckily, Mother Nature decided to turn around, and we got a beautiful day, 80 degrees, and we're looking forward to serving some ice cream here today.
But regardless of how the sky looked at times, guests were out right at 3, laying blankets in the damp grass, or with their traditional setups, like cribbage queens Heidi and her mom, Kathleen.
You got to bring something good to drink. You got to bring cheese and crackers of some sort, then a meal. We love to be here early and people watch and play cribbage. It's just fun. It's a great experience every Wednesday through the summer.
Next Wednesday's show is the 4th of July special, the Celebration of Liberty. Now, if you'll excuse me, I had to give my Motown dancing in the street feet a little bit of a break. Reporting on the Square, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Looks like a good gig. Armand, thank you. Look for News 3 Now at Concerts on the Square each Wednesday. You'll also find the latest updates on weather and the event at channel3000.com. The fourth victim in a Janesville shooting last week has now been identified. 21-year-old Haley Lounsbury died in the hospital 6 days after the incident at the Aspen Square Apartments in Janesville. According to a preliminary investigation, one person shot 3 others before dying by suicide. Of the 4 now dead, police have not identified which was the shooter. The deaths remain under investigation by the Janesville Police Department and the Rock County Medical Examiner's Office.
A Madison woman who pled guilty in a 2024 shooting will spend the next 10 years in jail. 28-year-old Tamar Beasley shot 31-year-old Andre Rice, the father of her child, in April of last year. She pled guilty to homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon with domestic abuse assessments and second-degree recklessly endangering safety. These are downgraded charges that were determined as part of a plea deal.
A 9-year-old Green Bay girl is dead after storms tore through the state this week. The girl's family says She was with her brother outside their home when a neighbor's tree collapsed on top of her. This was about 3:30 in the afternoon Monday. She was taken to a Green Bay hospital where she died that night. A GoFundMe page has been set up on behalf of the family to help pay for funeral expenses.
To Green Lake now, where a child is dead after being struck by a vehicle while riding their bike. Police responded to Hill Street near the library just before 10 o'clock this morning. Investigators say the child was on the sidewalk riding their bike when a driver attempting to park their vehicle drove over the curb and hit the child. They were rushed to Ripon Medical Center where they were pronounced dead. This incident remains under investigation.
At the state capitol today, the Wisconsin Supreme Court unanimously struck down a partial veto by Governor Tony Evers, siding with the Republican-controlled state legislature. The case stems from a fight over literacy funding within the Department of Public Instruction. Republicans put the money in an emergency fund. Governor Evers argued that they couldn't withhold the funding, and the court now is deciding the legislature can indeed keep that money for certain state programs under its control.
Also in the state's high court today, the justices refused to hear Democrats' arguments to throw out the state's current congressional maps. Democrats were asking for new maps as they look to regain control of the House. The 4 liberal and 3 conservative justices rejected the ask.
Camp Randall Stadium set to host its first pair of concerts in decades. First welcoming country artist Morgan Wallen this weekend. Patrick Herb of UW Athletics says the preparation process started earlier this week. He says bringing the Grammy-nominated artist to town is a big deal for both the UW and also the city of Madison as a whole.
These tours have often skipped our community, so to be able to bring Morgan Wallen, Coldplay next month into Madison is great for everybody.
And as the concert brings people to the area, business owners along Monroe Street and around Camp Randall are also preparing for the potential customers that are coming with it.
Some people will stop in and many people won't, but they will be exposed to Monroe Street and will see what we have here. And we will have a lot of people that will come back after that, either days later or the next day or even months later and say, oh yeah, I saw your store and we didn't get a chance to stop, so we've come back now.
Got to go all the way back to the Rolling Stones, October 1997 for the last concert there. Coldplay will also play Camp Randall this summer. That performance at 6 o'clock. That'll be July 19th.
Right now, several beaches are closed for swimming in the Dane County region over water quality concerns. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, Public Health in Madison, Dane County, they test the local beaches and lake access points. At the moment, the following beaches and water access points are closed. You can see them on your screen: Bernie's, Esther, James Madison, Lake Mendota County Park, Marshall, Spring Harbor, Warner, Willows Beach, and the Tong Marina T-Dock. These beaches will be closed until levels of E. coli or blue-green algae decrease. Beachgoers can monitor conditions by visiting publichealthmdc.com.
Well, the Woodman's on Madison's east side is back open. This after stormwater caused a partial roof collapse. No one was hurt, but the store was closed all day Tuesday. In a statement, Woodman said it's thankful for its team, along with emergency responders and local officials, for their help.
As of today, Metro Transit is officially accepting physical credit cards to pay for bus fares. Riders can also pay using mobile wallets like Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, and Google Pay. Using your card will provide the same discounts as Metro Fast Fare: $2 for a single ride and a fare capping at $5 a day.
Happening tomorrow at the Orpheum Theater, you can relive one of the greatest runs in UW sports history with the Made 'em Believe 2015 Wisconsin basketball reunion. Badger basketball icons Frank Kaminsky, Bo Ryan, Josh Gosser, and Sam Decker are reuniting to reflect on that journey to the NCAA championship game back in 2015. You'll get a chance to hear behind-the-scenes moments and never-before-told stories and reflections on that historic season. The event starts at 7, doors open at 6, and you can get tickets at the Orpheum Theater website.
And when we come back, the latest from the overseas conflict between Israel and Iran.
And how the FBI is handling potential threats after the Trump administration let go many of those members of its counterterrorism units earlier this year.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
The president spent much of his last day at the NATO summit in the Netherlands talking about the Israeli-Iranian conflict.
This comes as members of the administration are growing defensive over the airstrikes on Iran's nuclear program. CBS News' Erica Brown has the latest.
President Trump wrapped a final day of meetings at the NATO summit in the Netherlands on Wednesday. One of the key issues, his handling of the Israeli-Iranian conflict, which the president addressed with the NATO Secretary General.
They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
The president said the U.S. plans to meet with Iran next week in the wake of last weekend's U.S. airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know.
President Trump also met privately with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He says it's part of his ongoing efforts to bring Russia's war with Ukraine to an end. As the White House faces questions about how much damage was sustained from those U.S. strikes, here on Capitol Hill, senators are hoping to get more details at a classified briefing set for Thursday. An early leaked classified assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency found the strikes may have only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months, while an Israeli assessment found they took years off Iran's nuclear capabilities. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the military operation.
So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated.
Hegseth will hold a press conference Thursday morning to further address the Iranian strikes. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
And some FBI agents are being directed to focus on counterterrorism as U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi is calling Iran a threat to the country. It comes after the administration let go many of its counterterrorism experts and pulled away other officials to focus on immigration enforcement.
The Department of Homeland Security recently let go a significant amount of actual personnel in that office. So separate and apart from who's running it, you just don't have enough people physically working in that office right now, working in communities.
Well, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney General say they're trying to size the agency appropriately.
It has been almost 2 weeks since millions participated in No Kings protests around the country.
But anti-ICE demonstrations have continued in places immigration and customs enforcement is most active. Sherelle Hubbard with the latest.
Federal workers and labor union members joined immigrant justice advocates for picketing in Chicago Wednesday, demanding an end to immigration and customs enforcement raids and detainments inside public buildings.
They are afraid to show up to federal workplaces for fear of being arrested or disappeared in an ICE operation.
Union President Colin Smalley says their mission is being compromised.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
They took time out of the rally to take their oaths again publicly. In Pasadena, California, protesters waved signs that said, quote, "ICE out of Home Depot," and protect our communities. One man likening the current ICE raids to the actions of Nazi Germany.
In Germany, back in the 30s, with the Jews being rounded up like this, and this is exactly what is happening to this country.
The Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration aligns with campaign promises the president made to secure the borders and, quote, make America safe again.
We will begin the largest deportation operation.
But opponents to the administration's tactics continue to speak out. In Tennessee, supporters of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man accused of being linked to the MS-13 gang by the Trump administration and mistakenly deported to an El Salvador prison due to an administrative error, accused ICE of depriving detainees of their rights.
This administration continues to negate and ignore the rule of law.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And Garcia will remain in federal custody at least for a few more days amid questions over what would happen if he's released before facing trial on human smuggling charges.
Well, with these temperatures staying high for a while, it's important to be aware of not just your physical health, but your mental health as well. High heat exposure may actually cause those with underlying conditions like depression or anxiety to have heightened symptoms. Those can include increases in suicidal thinking, violent behavior, and substance abuse. Certain medications like antidepressants and antipsychotics may affect the body's ability to cool itself.
So talking to your prescriber or your primary care doctor is really key here, just to know if you're an at-risk person.
So if you're struggling with mental health or having harmful thoughts, you can call, text, or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, we've come out of the weekend with a of heat with a couple days of rain here.
And more is coming. Here's Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. Alex?
It just keeps rolling on and on. This roller coaster of hot conditions, humid conditions, and stormy conditions. And we've been talking about, as I mentioned, for days and if not better part of a week that this was going to be a busy stretch, and it was a busy stretch this evening. It's quieting down now, but we've got to get through Thursday yet. And then another day that I'll mention when we get a little bit closer to the 10-day forecast to get through all of these storms. Radar 3000 now shows the storms lining up along 151, stretching from Beaver Dam down to DeForest, getting into the northwest part of Dane County. It's now out of the Dodgeville area. And as I just move over here a little bit, what's happening, if you just take note of this little green band out ahead of the main line of thunderstorms, that's cool outflow. And when that occurs, that means the line of thunderstorms is in a weakening trend, and a weakening trend also in far southwest Wisconsin down towards the Platteville area. You can see that what we call outflow just leading out ahead of this line, showing that weakening, and I anticipate the weakening will continue. Future track showing that as well here. Thunderstorms becoming fewer, more far between than just some isolated showers, maybe a rumble or two of thunder overnight tonight. But then we got the next round to go. After the storms weaken overnight tonight, yet another one. Round of thunderstorms Thursday evening. Strong storms and flooding, a distinct possibility with that line. How's that going to play out here, Alex? Well, we can use Future Track to show thunderstorms reaching Juneau and Adams counties probably between 2 and 3 p.m. And then watch this just literally intensify in front of us here between 4 and 6 p.m. from the Dells to Lone Rock to Dodgeville down to Platteville, and then through Madison. It goes roughly, let's say, 8 o'clock or so, and then it's out of here and it weakens. So that means we have this line of storms coming through. The silver lining would be that we won't have overnight severe weather going into Thursday night into Friday. So that I find is a little bit of good news to share. Flooding rain's a distinct possibility. Strong winds we can't rule out even on Thursday. A few brief spin-up tornadoes that can sometimes form in the kinks in that line of thunderstorms that's expected. So good chances for rain Thursday going into Thursday night. There's that next chance of rain Sunday night going into Monday. That's going to be with some hot conditions as well. The muggy meter staying in the humid to oppressive range by the time we get back towards Sunday, and then down it goes after we get through that cold front by Monday. So more storms on Thursday. It's another alert day, especially in the afternoon. Have all forms of communication ready. Of course, tune in to our newscast. Have the First Warn Weather app all ready to rock and roll because we are expecting another line of severe thunderstorms. Heating on up. Heat index values Sunday could get into the upper 90s, and that's going to be the fuel for more severe storms Sunday night going on into Monday, and then we quiet down as we head towards the 4th of July. Another chance of storms. So staying very busy over the course of the next week, but we got to get through tomorrow, and then we'll have a little break from Friday going into Saturday.
Not much of a break. Summer's keeping you very busy.
That's par for course for summertime.
Exactly. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Some stars on the diamond today in Milwaukee.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking while I was watching Jacob Mizorowski, do you think you could hit a 102-mile-per-hour fastball?
I mean, Sarah can.
Yeah, we know Sarah can, right?
Oh,
coming up in sports, another start, another big win for the Miz. How Jacob Mizorowski outdueled Paul Skeens on the mound. That's next on News 3 Now. The NBA draft is currently underway, and the Bucks don't have a pick in the first round. Now, that could change if Milwaukee decided to make a couple moves late, but they're not going to be on the clock until Thursday's second round with the 47th overall pick. And to no one's surprise, Cooper Flagg was the #1 overall pick by the Mavericks. His teammate and Wisconsin native Con Knippel went 4th overall to the Hornets. It's the earliest a Wisconsin-born player has gone in the draft, passing Devin Harris, who went 5th in 2004. Well, John Tonje is projected to go right around when the Bucks will make their selection in the middle of the second round. In his lone season at Wisconsin, Tonje averaged 19 points and 5 rebounds per game. He'd be the first Badger drafted since Johnny Davis was taken 10th overall in 2022. It was billed as the pitching matchup of the season. The reigning NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens, versus Milwaukee's flamethrower, Jacob Mizorowski. Both guys have ERAs under 2, so runs would be at a premium. The Miz making his 3rd start of his major league career, and the Brewer bats picked him up in the second. Eric Haas sends a little blooper to center. That scores Bryce Terang, part of a 4-run frame for the Crew, and that's all Mizorowski would need. He pitched 5 innings of scoreless baseball, allowing 2 hits while striking out 8. And how's this for a start to a career? 3 starts, 3 wins, and 3 hits allowed for the Miz. Brewers take the series 4-2, the final. Fresh off leading Whitewater baseball to a Division III national championship, John Vodolick has been named the ABCA's National Coach of the Year. And for good reason, the Warhawks posted a 49-6 record this season, winning the WIAC regular season and tournament title, and ultimately another natty. It was a sad day for the Wisconsin football program with the news that former Badger Nate White passed away. Luke Fickell said in a statement, "The news of Nate White's passing has been sad and difficult to comprehend." He went on to say, "We remember Nate as a friend and teammate, and we stand in support of Nate's family and loved ones." White spent 2 seasons in Madison before transferring to South Dakota State in January. And that's it for sports. Alex is back with one last look at your forecast after the break.
Stephen breaks down the New York primary.
They're not booing, they're just going, Cuomo.
Plus, Clarissa Ward from the Middle East. All new CBS Tonight.
Well, a pair of twins are named Kid Mayors in Green Bay today. The city annually celebrates Kids Day, this year selecting brothers Ivan and Riot to join Mayor Eric Genrich as the co-mayors for the day. The pair read the Kids Day proclamation for a swearing-in ceremony.
Oh, how cute.
Mayors of Green Bay.
They look scared. Well, anyway.
You wouldn't want to be mayor.
Big duty.
Right, exactly. Well, no scary weather coming, though.
The threat is decreasing. I'm abundantly pleased that we have outflow with cool air coming out from the rest of these thunderstorms that we can see on Radar 3000. And there's very little lightning. Watch this as we go into the evening. Watch this line push out ahead of the main. There you see it right there, that green bow. What that is that cool air out ahead of those showers and thunderstorms. That's going to cut them off from the warm and humid stuff, and the rest of the night just expecting the dwindling of those showers and those thunderstorms. But we got another line that we have to get through as we go on into Thursday, expecting a line of strong to severe thunderstorms moving through southern Wisconsin, let's say roughly 4 p.m. north and west of Madison, right around 7, 8 in the Madison area, and then 9, 10 south and east of the Madison area. But it gets through quickly, and Blaze and I will be here, of course, providing any cut-ins as necessary tomorrow.
A busy day again.
A busy day again, yes.
Well, with the rain and this air has been so thick this week, things are greening up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of areas getting beneficial rain, but we got to think of our friends south and east of Janesville towards Milwaukee. They keep missing out on that, so hopefully they can get some rain out of some of these storms the next couple days.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. Coming up now is The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Our next newscast coming up tomorrow morning at 4:30. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a great night, folks.